everybody, welcome back to my channel, Vintage Soup here, and welcome to my little series that is based on vintage old Hollywood recipes. And today we'll be looking at a recipe that is brought to us by the legendary silent film actress, most known for Sunset Boulevard, Gloria Swanson.
In Billy Wilder's Sunset Boulevard, the devoted Max von Meerling describes his employer and one-time wife, Norma Desmond, as the greatest of them all. In 1 week she received
17,000 fan letters. Men bribed the hairdresser to get a lock of her hair. There was a Maharaja who came all the way from India to beg one of her silk stockings. Later he strangled himself with it.
While that may have been as comically exaggerated in 1950 as it is today, it wasn't that dissimilar to the reality that Gloria Swanson faced decades before. It is ironic that Sunset Boulevard is Swanson's most famous role, as back in the 1920s she was dubbed the Queen of the Screen by the public, and the cinema owners called her the mortgage lifter, as all they had to do was put her name on the billboard outside and the money would come rolling in. Born on March 17, 1899 to Joseph and Adelaide Svensson, Gloria's father had been in the military, and like most army brats, she had spent most of her childhood moving from one place to another. It was when she visited Chicago's S&A studios at the age of 14 with an aunt that Gloria was introduced to the world of cinema and was captivated, asking if she could perform as an extra and gaining small roles in several pictures. In 1916, she made the move to Hollywood, where she worked with comedy producer Mack Sennett, who thought she resembled Mabel Normand, and cast her in several comedy shorts, much to Swanson's chagrin. After one too many pratfalls, Swanson walked away from Sennett and into Paramount Studios, which was quickly gaining a reputation for its shimmering glamour. Hollywood's most celebrated director, Cecil B. DeMille, cast Swanson in the first of their 6 films together, turning the actress into one of Hollywood's earliest idols and the industry's highest paid actress. Director and star shared a special bond. She deferred to him as Mr. DeMille, and he called her young fella, as he believed she was braver than any man he had ever known. Case in point, Swanson acting alongside a genuinely vicious lion that would go on to kill someone 2 weeks after these scenes were shot. Over the next 5 years, she made 20 films for Paramount, most of which were popular but considered mediocre, and Swanson seemed more of a glamorous clothes horse than an actress. However, there were standout performances at this point in her career, like Zaza, Manhandled, and Madame Saint-Jean. Despite several financial incentives to stay at Paramount, by 1926, Swanson opted to sign up with United Artists, which she hoped would give her more creative freedom. Sarah Thomas, her second film with the company, was a huge hit despite the coming of sound, and encouraged by its success, she chose to make Queen Kelly, directed by Erich von Stroheim, and partially financed by her then lover, Joseph Kennedy. Director and star clashed throughout, with Swanson concerned about the route the film was taking, and with costs rising, the infamously tyrannical von Stroheim was fired. The film was never released in the United States, and a much edited reshot cut would eventually surface in Europe a few years later. But by then, the damage had been done. Unlike Norma Desmond, Swanson initially embraced the talkies, and her ability to sing certainly helped. Her first sound film, The Trespasser, was relatively successful. However, at the advent of sound, Swanson was in her 30s and considered too old to play the ingenue. And as the film industry seemed to be changing, she decided to withdraw from the film industry in 1934. Over the next few years, Swanson moved to New York, opened a patenting business, the purpose of which was to fund the rescue of several Jewish scientists and inventors from war-torn Europe. After the Second World War, Swanson was one of the first to embrace television, presenting a live talk show. However, it was when Billy Wilder lured her back to Hollywood for Sunset Boulevard, sometimes dubbed one of the greatest screen comebacks, that Swanson went from forgotten idol to immortal legend. Reuniting with her friend Cecil B. DeMille and one-time adversary Erich von Stroheim, Swanson earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress as the fascinatingly grotesque Norma Desmond, and gave a daring, bewitching performance that continues to endure today. Her star once again faded, with the only roles on offer being pale imitations of Norma Desmond, though Swanson was never a recluse and made regular appearances on television. She dedicated the rest of her life to pursuing various interests and became an advocate for healthy eating. A vegetarian since 1928, she was a yoga practitioner and was an early proponent of the macrobiotic diet. She lastly toured the country with her sixth and final husband, espousing healthy eating, and continued to do so until her death at age 84. So, bearing in mind Swanson's enthusiasm for healthy eating, we will be looking today at her recipe for potassium broth, which admittedly isn't the most appetising name in the world. So the first thing we need to do is wash our hands, obviously, at least for 20 seconds. Obviously I put on my apron here, looking really annoyed about something, probably my kids.
So let's get started.
Now obviously all the vegetables that we're using in this need thoroughly washed, and I started off chopping celery, a cup's worth of it. I then continued chopping string beans, zucchini or courgette as I call it, I'm Scottish so it's courgette. And then the recipe calls for Swiss chard, which I couldn't get, so I went for the next best thing, Cavallo Nero kale, which is the closest in taste. It just takes slightly longer to cook. Then I chucked all my veg in a soup pot and added 8 cups of spring or mineral water. I then took it to my stove, covered it and let it simmer for, I think I let it simmer for about half an hour, but it's really until the celery goes tender. Cool to room temperature. I then placed the broth in a glass jar before I placed it in the fridge for a few hours. And that's it.
Okay, so I kept the soup in the fridge overnight and I just heated it up. You can enjoy this soup apparently hot or cold, but personally I hate cold soup, so I've heated it up a little bit. Here we go. Well, it's edible. It's the reason why a lot of people may have issues with health food. What you probably would need is at least some onion in there. It's fine, it's just not very exciting. You could put a stock cube in. I'd be tempted myself possibly to blend it, and yeah, definitely put an onion in there. It's not bad, it's not particularly great, so yeah. Thanks for watching the video. Please hit the like or subscribe button just to get my videos out there. I'm learning. This is a bit of a learning curve for me, so hopefully I start to improve the more videos I attempt to make. But until next time, stay safe and goodbye.